So, hello everyone. My name is aBe Solatier. I'm an artist and a creative coder from Europe. This is my third time in Taiwan. It's my last night in Taiwan. And we just spent more than a month in the south enjoying nature. It was super beautiful with my partner. Yeah, I'm mostly self-taught. As an artist, I did study computer science and graphic design, but I did learn on my own. I work in a shared studio in Berlin, and let me open these. These are the points we're going to talk about. I've been co-organizing the Creative Code Berlin meetups with friends for 13 years at least. Yeah, these are some of the photos from the event. And yeah, as creative coders, we need tools. When I mean creative coding, I mean programming in that way that you welcome surprises, exploration. Sometimes errors are useful, as long as you make them go away at some point. But they can lead you in interesting ways. And we need tools to do creative coding. It can be difficult to choose because there's many tools. There's also many opinions. I decided some years ago to do open source only. So I only use open source tools for my work. These are some of those tools. There's many. It makes choosing tools maybe a bit easier because there's less. So there's less variety. It makes a bit more difficult maybe that collaborating because maybe other people use Photoshop or something. And also some features may be more limited sometimes. So why would you use open source tools? And in my case, I just find it nice to be able to collaborate. I like people collaborating together, building things together, to be able to fix things when they don't work or improve things if you think you can improve them, and doing this kind of aside from capitalism or consumerism. Moving to open source was a transition for me, so it didn't happen in one day. The same with becoming an artist and a creative coder also was a transition. So maybe life is all transitions. In 2019, I was ready for a change. Let me explain where I was at that time, my experience. I started programming when I was 9 years old with this very old computer. In the 90s, I did generative visuals, poetry, and music. And the computers were very limited at the time. That was a great inspiration because we were trying to push the limits of what was possible. Then I spent like 10 years doing Flash websites. Eventually I found processing. I did 10 years of processing. We did like live performances and art installations. I gave workshops and tutorials, video tutorials. Then at some point I started to find some limitations in processing, and also I didn't find it so easy sometimes to contribute to the tool. Now it's different, but back then it was not so easy. So I switched to open frameworks. I did that for a few years in C++. That was also powerful, fast. I did some paid jobs with that, but I found was more friction. When there was a bug, it was maybe harder to debug C++ errors, and also compilation time was a bit slow, so it would break my flow. So in 2019, I found out this framework called OPENRNDR. And it's Kotlin based. Kotlin is the programming language. It's free open source. But I was wondering, should I try it? I was asking myself, Would it be more fun to create things? Can I do things I couldn't do before? And how does it compare to other frameworks? So before downloading any open source tool, I asked myself some questions, like, for example, how many commits are there? Is it being updated recently or last year? Like, how many contributors are there? What language do they speak? Is there a community around the tool? What about the documentation? And also, who is behind these tools? Like, I want to align, I don't want to work maybe with some military related software or something. So, and I ask those questions, to know that it's secure, that it's maintained, and the values align with mine in some way. So, what I found out, let me see. Yeah, I found the guide was pretty good. Well, no, I shouldn't say too much because maybe I'm writing part of the guide, but the guide was very complete. There's a lot of examples. You can see a lot of images, and it's partially auto-generated guide. So all those images and videos. And let me see, there's a lot of content in the guide. Then OpenRNDR is actually about 90 packages which are hosted in this Maven repository where there's like 53 million packages. So those packages are what you need to write your own OpenRNDR programs. But then there is this OpenRNDR template which makes it very easy. It just includes all those dependencies, so it's very easy to get started. What else did I find out? Well, I saw there was activity in the source code. The guide was good. There was a Slack channel. This is actually the small design company that develops the tool. This is our NDR studio in the Netherlands. And well, I aligned to they're doing a lot of data visualization and very impressive projects, I find. So I like that. Concerns I had also a few. So Kotlin is very nice language. And what I didn't like, I still like a bit less, is that it's more corporate, or like Google is too close for my taste. You will notice I'm a bit out of those companies, but yeah. Then another issue was the team is small in developing OpenRNDR, and I didn't know if there's many users. And as I grow older, I become kind of like a late adopter. Instead of being an early adopter, I prefer to wait and see, because I have already suffered in the past about you use some tool and then it's abandoned, or then you have to find something else, and yeah. So that's part of the reason why I totally didn't go into the NFT, the whole thing. And also AI, I have barely used. Sometimes I do some search, but I like writing code. So I was curious to try, and so I downloaded and the whole framework. And these are some of my first impressions I got then. The guide was good. The framework is some surface, and the surface is similar to processing and open frameworks. Later you see there's more difference, but it's easy to get started. Here I'm showing code in processing on the left, processing on the center, inside a more powerful IDE, IntelliJ IDEA, and OpenRNDR on the right. And well, one thing I noticed is the words are different. So in processing you have setup and draw, and in OpenRNDR was application and configure, program, extend. But that's not an issue because it can be automatically typed, so you get used to it. Then, yeah, another thing I noticed is that if you use a more powerful IDE, like IntelliJ IDEA, then the programs become a bit more verbose, at least with processing. you see this is the same program on the center and on the left, but you have a main method, you have import, you have override, public, which all this is hidden from you in the processing IDE. You have also F after every number because it uses floats. So compared to this, OpenRNDR looks kind of clean, I think. There's no override, no public, no semicolons. Yeah. Let me see what else was there. Yeah, then you can also, in OpenRNDR, what I like, there's also higher level functions. So processing is, I think processing is more oriented for teaching. So it's good that you know how to create a grid, for example. But in an OpenRNDR, you're most focused on getting the thing done and having a lot of powerful tools. So you can just call grid and it will make a grid instead of having to calculate all the columns and all the rows. That's an example. And also in the more powerful IDE, you have some hints which are very helpful. Like here, you can read columns and rows. These are automatically added by the IDE. It's not part of the code. Another thing I encountered was that there were these brackets which I didn't understand. Like this is not in Java or maybe C++, I don't know, in other languages. At the beginning, I just ignored it. At some point, I found they're very powerful and useful. So maybe I can show later if I have time. What else was different? Well, I will skip this. At the beginning, the documentation wasn't so good, but now it's better. Okay, here I'm showing that the autocomplete feels like magic. I'm typing here 3 letters, like OpenRender application, ORA, and it creates the program. I type just very few characters, and automatically it autocompletes as if it was reading my mind. So this is very convenient. So it's really good to be in the flow, so I can type very quickly and get things done, and then you get a circle. Another difference between them, this is a difference between processing, which is great for beginners, and something Gradle-based. Gradle is the build tool that OpenRNDR uses, is the number of files. It's very nice that processing just has one folder, one file. In a Gradle project, you have many more files. You have folders and all these files. So it can be a bit scary as a beginner, but they are created automatically, so you just have to let them be. And then another cool thing in OpenRNDR would be that in processing, every program is one folder. In OpenRNDR, you could have 100 programs in one project. This is also very convenient. I'll skip that. So what happened then? I started making those experiments, and then this happened. I submitted my first... the text went off.
Yeah.
Should I pause? So I submitted my first contribution to the project in 2020. It was a simple thing. And what happened then I sent 650 more. And I wrote thousands of messages in Slack and hundreds of messages in the forum. And I made a lot of videos discussing with a friend about OpenRNDR. And yeah, all these videos. And then I wrote, I don't know, like 500 programs or something. Like I've been creating all these programs in the last 5 years. Some are simple tests, some are more complicated. So yeah, be careful when you get started with something. You may go very deep into it. Yeah. So how am I doing with time? Yes. 20. Until what? Is it until
30?
30?
Yeah, still 10 minutes.
I'll show some quickly 3 projects. One is related. This is not based on in OpenRNDR, but it's a very useful tool, which is, I call this thumbnailer.
Sorry, 20.
20.
Yeah.
The thumbnailer is, I always have this issue that I make too many programs, and then I don't know how to find my programs. And I don't even know in which folder, or do they even exist. So I created this tool that is integrated with the IDE, which you can see is there on the right. It opens this panel, and you can see screenshots of all your programs. And you can double click on them, or you can search. So if you filter there like gradient, and then you see all the programs that were using gradient. It searches in descriptions. It searches also in the source code. And then you can just double click and run the program. Let me see what else it was doing there. Then you can open a preview of all these programs to see a larger version and a description. And here I'm showing how easy it is to add a missing thumbnail. Like you can see here's a missing thumbnail. I run the program, I take a screenshot, and then I copy, paste, and then the thumbnail is there. So now it's added, so then it's there like forever. So this helps me quickly find my programs. It's open source, so you can use it or adapt it, fork it if you want to use it in a different language or something. That was my first program. Second program I want to mention, or a second project, is my use of the pen plotter. I have this Axie draw device, and I think OpenRNDR is really good for creating works for the pen plotter, because there's many ways of generating lines and curves. You can query information from the curves, you can sample points, you can manipulate the shapes, like distort them, do all kinds of things. So it's been really fun to do this. I participated in this book by many artists submitting pen plotter artworks. Here I was trying something different, like just using water. It was an ephemeral artwork. So then you let it dry and it disappears. Maybe I can, if I have time, I can show later. I included too many examples. All pen plotter artworks. And I'll jump to the third project I want to show, which is what you're seeing on the right. That's called a life cycle, and it was shown in this new media art space in Berlin for 1 year. I created this thanks to a grant. It was funny because I received the grant one day after I decided to stop making art and find a job. It was during the pandemic, so we didn't receive many projects, and I said, I have to do something. And then the next day I received the grant. I said, there's a message from somewhere. So then, thanks to this, I was able to create this work, and it was first shown that a small event, like a one-day event, was shown there. And then it was shown in the big space for 1 year, and then this was one of the people started writing me emails because they wanted to buy the work. So they said, what? I was not thinking, I never sold a digital real-time artwork before, so I had to decide. I decided there's 5 copies of them in the world, and I sold them all. They are all gone. There's 4 in Germany and 1 in Spain. And yeah, how it works, it's based on the Physarum algorithm. That was the starting point. There is 1 million particles there, and there's a bunch of compute shaders that move the particles and do post-processing and do different things to them. So yeah, maybe we can if you have questions, we can talk about it later. And I'll mention some conclusions about this 5-year journey. Let me find this place. So first, was it worth it? And I think it was. It started as an experiment, but I'm really happy. I still enjoy every day. I enjoy writing code in Kotlin, in this language, and I like reading also. It's weird. Sometimes I write a program and then I read it like 3 times and I say, oh, it's beautiful. Not always. Sometimes it's a mess, but sometimes it's so condensed, so readable that to me it reads like English or something. You can see in the left there's some high-level things, like you have post-processing effects. There was like chromatic aberration, hash blur, and other blurs, and there's a lot of tools in this framework. What else did I have? The framework has a lot of features, so I think it allows me to add more layers in my work, to add more complexity than before. So I think it is something I benefit from, and it has less friction. And before, I think sometimes I had to reinvent the wheel. Like I need this function, so I have to write it myself. But this framework comes with so many wheels that you don't have to do that so much. There's a lot of libraries that are ready to use, and of course, like every technology, sometimes there are frustrating moments. I think for me the frustrating moments don't come from the language or the framework, but sometimes the IDE is updated or Gradle is updated, and sometimes there's some difficulties. But overall it's great. I think and 2 more things I want to mention. One is the framework includes a lot of automation. Like here I'm showing the GitHub actions. So a lot of stuff happens automatically. I think that's the only reason why such a small team can maintain this framework. Because when you push something to GitHub, it runs the test. Maybe the guide gets generated automatically. It generates screenshots automatically. It generates videos automatically. So if any code we push breaks something, we will notice. And so that's why we can do so much. Here I'm showing the guide, which includes all these little images and videos. They are all generated online. So that's very useful. And some things I realized is that a small team can be good. Sometimes, of course, it has limitations, but it allows to try things, throw them away if they don't work. And there's no also the way it's set up. There's no kind of breaking changes for the users, because the users can stay with a version, and this version will run for many years. And OpenRNDR is evolving, and I'm curious about what will bring in the future. But it already has so much stuff that I think it can keep me busy for many years experimenting. If any one of you wants to try it, then you can find me in the forum. I can answer questions or see what you create. And I think maybe we have a few minutes to do a live demo. These are still the last examples I have here. I was exhibited recently in Berlin. It's running on a tablet. So let's do some coding. As I showed before, I can just type Aura OpenRNDR application and it creates this. And then you can click the little triangle and run. I wonder if I will see the window if I'm in full screen mode. No. Okay, now. So that's a basic program. I can draw over, clear. I can change the color, for example, of the window, and then We can make it pink. We can change the size. What could I do? I can make a list of random points. For example, list of 10 points. And these are going to be drawer, bounds, uniform. So this is a way of creating 10 points sampled randomly from the screen. I could draw them as circles. Drawer, circles, points, 20, for example. There we have 20 points. Text is over. I could create a curve connecting those points. So curve is a hobby curve with those points, and it's going to be a closed curve. So I could draw that, or let me draw it before. Drawer, contour, not just one contour curve. And by the way, there's a live coding mode, which I'm not using, but yeah, I could use that. So now it has created a curve that connects all those points. I could add little hairs to the curve. So how could I do that? It's hard to talk and live code that live. If I have the curve, I can, of course, let me make a list. Segments is going to be a list of 200 points. I'm going to sample there. T is a point between 0 and 1. So now I can sample a position from the curve. Position T. And N is the normal at that point. Curve.normal T. And then now I can create a segment to D that starts at P and goes at P plus N. So you can see this is neither operator overloading, so you can do operations between vectors. That's a segment, but this is going to be too small, so I'm going to make it a bit longer. And now I can draw those segments. Drawer, segments. So you can have their little hairs. What if I wanted a screenshot of that? I can do extend screenshots, one line. So now if I run the program and I hit space, then you can see here that it saved the screenshot. So this is very useful. So you always have images of what you're doing. What if I wanted to move my visuals around, maybe to find the right angle? So I can add a camera 2D, and then I have that, and then now I can move and zoom and rotate the thing to find the perfect screenshot. Yeah. So maybe I will leave it at that. You can see it's fast to iterate. I will just show you GitHub, all the guide, which I kind of, let me open Firefox, guide and RX. So this is the guide in night mode, apparently. I think there was a way to toggle the thing. Here. So you can see this is all about drawing, and you can find drawing primitives patch, not this one. Curves and shapes. So here there's a lot of programs you can just copy paste, and as I mentioned before, all these images are generated automatically from the source code. And then there's this huge library of add-ons. Let me make this bigger. So if you don't have enough with the base, then you can, I don't know, you can see a noise. I need some noise, and then you can find here like 100 methods to generate noise with screenshots, every possible noise you may need. There's a lot of examples, yeah. And I think recently there was shade styles, which are pretty cool too. You can have a lot of gradients, shapes, nice gradients of very configurable gradients. And yeah, you can spend a day, I guess, at looking at screenshots here. This is new, I think, was added yesterday. There's blue noise, which is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to try that. Yeah, so that's a bit of my journey in the last 5 years with this tool, and yeah, if anyone wants to try, and I'm happy to hear your comments and feedback. Thank you.
Do you want to take any questions?
If there's time, yeah.
有大家有什么问题想要提问的吗？
May I?
Sure.
Is there a lot of heavy users like you in the community?
No.
So you're the most.
No. So there's the core, the main developer. He's part of the demo scene. I don't know if you heard of that. YouTube. Let me open that. The demo scene is a computer art subculture. Is demo scene. It started in the 90s when the computers were very limited, and what people, it would be cool if anyone wants to look. There's these long documentaries about the demo scene. So what people do is very crazy advanced programming. They try to find ways to make demos in 4 kilobytes, for example. A full video clip in 4 kilobytes. That's the size of an email without photos. So the lead developer of OPENRNDR participates in the demo scene, and so he's here, and I'm just following him. And there are a bunch of users. Let me find this core.
But they are like light users.
Different. And also, I think there's users who don't say they are users. People are using it for their projects, but maybe they don't share so much. We have this thread in the forum, and we've been posting here for years. Every time, like people making experiments, and people, there's many different kind of users. Like one user in my studio is doing a lot of AI stuff. And he has implemented like a chat system into this, and he can generate programs just by talking to it. But yeah, there's different people because it's so vast. Like some people maybe use Plotter, some people do 3D, some people do 2D. So yeah. But yeah. Any other question?
Okay, I have one. So, is it easy to show these on the web, or because it's Kotlin based, is it easy to install it on Android or whatever?
In the Android, not yet. I wish that was the case.
Okay.
Because the reason is that this framework uses lightweight Java gaming library, and that's not compatible with Android. I hope some Android expert would join and make it possible. That would be cool. On the web, yes, there is a, let me see, there is, it's not as powerful, so you cannot use absolutely everything, but there is the OPENRNDR JS template. So you can produce works and post them online.
Okay.
And I tried that, and they were kind of lightweight, because they were packed to 50 kilobytes or something. Like I tried with Open Frameworks, for example, you can do that, but then the executable is 20 megabytes, which is very heavy for a website.
So the main kind of, if you want to show this to other people, the main thing is kind of like executable on like Windows or Mac, something like that.
Yeah, or Linux.
Okay, Linux, yeah.
But yes, the main, well, I can open, let me see the page, RNDR Studio. So I think the top developer of projects is, of course, the people who create this framework, and they are making really amazing things. I don't know if this is loading now. It takes a bit of time to load from Taiwan, I think. But they make a lot of big projects with a lot of screens, sometimes like massive projections. So it's for that kind of works, I think it's really good. It's also developed so it's very maintainable, and so if you create something, it continues to run for a long time. Like this work was there for a year, and it's always running, so there's no crashing or something. Yeah. Yeah, it's worth checking out their projects, their website. They're making a lot of amazing stuff. Yeah.
So does it can it use like shader from the GPU?
Yeah.
And how about the network functionality? Can I interact with like other protocols from the web or whatever?
Yeah. So let me see. Shaders, that's one of the strong points, I think, because it's very nice that you can. I don't know if I could do. Maybe I shouldn't do, but you can very quickly right here drawer.shadestyle is shade style.
Are these GPU codes?
No, but this is, so here I can do fragment transform, and whatever I write here is shader code. So you can just add there one line of code of shader to manipulate the shaders. And there's also good that you can use all kind of shaders, including compute shaders. So which is what I use there. About integrating, I'm sure I haven't done that so much, but they do a lot of API calls and stuff. And because it's JVM, so you can use any libraries to do API calls to any online services, and there are also included ORX some. Let me see, where was that? There's here in the JVM section, JVM. So there are some to integrate with hardware, like there's computer vision, depth cameras, there's MIDI, Kinect, I don't know what else is there, OSC, so there's this RealSense cameras, iPhone,
You say this work running for a year and didn't crash. It means it's a real-time work.
It's running right. It never repeats.
Yeah.
It's not a video file. You will never see this again. The same way. Yeah.
Generative.
Yeah.
Is there a powerful GPU in the computer?
Yeah. It's 3080.
3080.
But it runs on a 3060. That one. Yeah. With this amount. Well, it runs on a 3060 with 50% use. Yeah. And that's interesting because you cannot really make a video out of that kind of stuff because it will look terrible. Like if you look very close, you can see every pixel moving one by one. So yeah.
Sorry, last question.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about the IDE. So it has a dedicated IDE. It's not using
No.
JetBrains or
JetBrains. Yeah.
Oh, it's JetBrains.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hiding it, but it's there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm using JetBrains IntelliJ, the community edition. Yeah.
Oh, so you type in like 3-letter and then it create that template is from JetBrains?
Yeah, you can do that. JetBrains have
okay.
these code templates.
I see.
Yeah.
I thought they have a dedicated like IDE like processing.
No.
Okay.
But the autocomplete is JetBrains integrated thing. So that when I type DR and it types drawer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also nice that there's always documentation, so the code is documented, so you can see, and you can control click and jump to the source code to study what it's doing. Yeah. Cool.
大家还有其他问题？
Just one interesting question.
Yeah.
For creative coding, mostly just like to do some kind of creative things by coding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of cases. Is there any kind of new tools or ideas to do some sort of visual coding? That means actually you are kind of drawing something to give the commands instead of kind of open an IDE like a programmer.
Yeah.
Then your kind of movement drawing combined with maybe some sort of prompts that can reversely transfer to some sort of coding beneath that. Then you can base on that to move on to do something further that may be totally different way. Just curious about that.
I don't know about. I think there was an art project about some like using your moves and your body to write instructions on the screen.
For example, you can for this one, this creation, you can use a cursor to say that I like to drop some blue points and make the blue points have some kind of ripples. And you can enhance the ripples based on the purling noise function. And then you can draw some kind of strokes or kind of direct lines directly on the screen.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of generate some sort of creative code beneath that.
Okay. But I haven't.
That's kind of the reverse way. Coding to generate that.
Yeah. I haven't seen something like that. I think
Is that a good idea?
I don't know. For some people, I'm sure. There's different kind of people. So some people are okay with asking a chat, like, please write a program that does this. And then I don't like that because for me, coding is an exploration.
Right.
So I don't know yet what I'm going to do. I start in a direction and I type something and something happens and then I change the direction and I find the code beautiful, the text. But other people don't like code, so they use nodes. For example, you can use Touch Designer, VVVV. There's another one called Tool. There's many node-based tools that you can use to generate visuals. And I personally, I thought about it would be really cool to write code with movement. And I was thinking because it's bad that we are sitting all the time, often. And I thought it would be nice to stand and do kind of gestures or something and transform that into code. But that would be more like an art project, at least at the beginning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How do you start your daily creation? Because there's in start is a plain
blank file or something.
Yes, and is there a draft in your mind, or keep trying different method function or anything?
It can be different. Sometimes it can be, for example, like before I mentioned, there's this new blue noise. So maybe, I want to try this. So maybe this is technical. Maybe I want to try an instruction. But I also inspired by things I see in nature or on the sidewalk. So I see, these rocks, they have interesting shape. Like, how could I do something like this? Or I see the movement of a bird and I try, I want to imitate the movement of this bird or something. There's many ways to start. And sometimes I just did something yesterday and I have an idea, I can take what I did yesterday and do something more. So, and there's many ways.